Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Midday Market Monitor. And the companies that we are looking to monitor, the number one that I'm paying attention to right now, Nebius, up 14.6% today, ladies and gentlemen. Give yourself a round of applause. Woo! Gotta love it. Whenever your number one position, Nvidia, ends up investing $2 billion into your fastest growing position, Nebius. Nebius is a holding that is been one that I've been trying to aggressively add to. Literally, yesterday we were talking about, Uber looks like a good investment. All these different companies look like good investments. However, none of them are worth even investing in or even remotely looking into whenever a name like Nebius is on the board. Still so cheap. Hopefully, everyone is enjoying a day like today. Doubling down. Why late? You don't want to know. You don't leave those types of questions unanswered. Okay. Tanner, have you added to Zeta? Another company. Why would I ever look into Zeta whenever Nebius exists? Exists? What did I just say? Maybe that was me channeling my inner Amit. I joke around with Amit so much that people start to think that like I'm actually truly throwing shade. I love Amit more than anyone else on this platform. I'm a huge fan of his, but sometimes you got to have fun with the people you love. Like you should. If I had my brother on here, you'd realize how much I make fun of this dude. Like, but it's because I hope that he knows that I don't mean any offense. It's just all in good fun. Yeah, you get made fun of the most, and honestly, as creators, I think we are always the butt of the joke. So he's used to it. Prediction for Nvidia by the end of the week. Don't use me to help you write your calls, okay? By the end of the week, we're not investing the same way at all. Ask me my prediction for Nebius by the end of 2020 or 2030. Then we could talk. But Nebius, speaking by the end of 2030, this was actually part of the deal that they just had with Nvidia. They want to set up 5 gigawatts of data centers, using AI hardware. To put this into perspective, the market cap on Nebius is $28 billion today. $28 billion. By the way, it was like $22 billion a week ago. So $28 billion market cap. A single gigawatt to set up worth of a data center right now is about $50 to $60 billion. Let's say $50 billion on the low end. That's roughly about double the total market cap of Nebius today. And they said that they want to help them get to 5 gigawatts worth of data centers. It's a lot of power. Total capex for Nebius right now, and that's using Nvidia hardware, by the way, which is what the $2 billion is going to go towards. The total amount of chips and everything. I don't even remember what I was going on about. I saw this comment and it made me freak out. I bought at 85, sold today at 113. Why? You're counting your pennies. You're not worried about the dollars. This company's in the same range that it's been in for a while now. This your trade? That's your trade right there? Bought here, sold here. I'm looking for these types of movements, and beyond. You covering Path earnings today? I could be persuaded, but probably not. Sold a bit of Nebius to DCA on Robinhood. I like Robinhood. Trust me, we have Robinhood stories to talk about today, specifically banking and their recent additions to prediction markets. A lot of that very exciting. I'm a fan of Robinhood, but honestly, whenever I take a look and I'm looking around at, you know, companies to invest in, whether that's Zeta or some of these other ones, which I honestly think we're going to do well. Another one that we talked about yesterday, Uber, great company. You know, recently just did not an acquisition, a partnership with Zoox, which is Amazon's autonomous vehicle ride service in Las Vegas, and they're going to expand to many different cities. They are now going to be available on Uber. You know, probably the app that they ended up setting out, I wasn't downloading it, and I always want to use these new tools and stuff, but it's just so much easier to just say, hey, why don't we just use the service that everyone else is using? Uber will pay them their fee, but we'll get access to, a 200 million person network and almost can guarantee that these things are running 24/7. Uber can actually guarantee that. They can say, hey, we'll give you a certain amount of our traffic. So that's sort of their selling point. Check HIMS. I know HIMS is up 15.5% today. Absolutely crazy. $27 a share right now. Looking phenomenal. Hopefully, Novo Nordisk and HIMS are in good graces again. They'll stop the legal battles and move on to better things. It's like a bad relationship. Tanker Tanner, can we get some commodities coverage? I was actually just following crude oil's prices in terms of, real coverage. I don't know anything about the space, but I do know how much it's affecting the markets right now. And it's at 86.60 right now a barrel. That's funny. Tanker Tanner. Tanner, do you think that we can get to $100 billion? My bag is going to be so big. I absolutely think that we can get to 100 billion. That doesn't come without risk. I mean, maybe this falls through or something like that. Like, we'll be reactionary to bad news that ends up coming out. Like, some people are going to call me a flip-flopper or whatever if we end up seeing a massive change in the Nebius story and I end up selling. But that's only if the Nebius story changes drastically. I'm not guaranteeing the future. I'm only looking at where the future looks like it's going to go right now. I'm modeling it out. I'm going, oh my gosh, Nebius is going to be freaking fantastic. And I see all the new products that are coming out. Oracle talking about embedding, coding tools and selling that off to all their enterprises that work with Oracle. And it's like the amount of AI adoption is only increasing. It's not slowing down. Whenever that happens, I get very excited about names like Nebius, especially after a partnership with Nvidia, because Nvidia is truthfully, do not get this twisted. This is 100% true. They are a kingmaker. Okay. Working directly with their company can help you set up data centers in the best possible way. Look at the company that is closest to Nvidia right now on the cloud side. You look at CoreWeave, right? They have every single partnership with Nvidia that you could possibly have. They're backstopping their amount of compute. Nvidia said they'll buy any amount of compute that they don't end up selling to help with, smaller customers that potentially can't sign up these large 5+ year deals, upfront payments and everything like this. Nvidia said, hey, you know what? Take a little bit more risk with those customers. We'll buy what they can't handle. Okay. The father at the table that says, cut him a big slice of cake. I'll finish off the leftovers. So CoreWeave, what you also see, because of that strong relationship, they get first access to all the newest chips, Blackwells. They know how to set those chips up. Not a rack scale system in one warehouse versus another can have different results. Okay, so knowing how to set them up, how to work with them, all of these things, very important. CoreWeave, what they've ended up showing off is that they have, by far the best results. They show the highest rankings in, the, what's the name of the company? The Cluster Max ranking, semi-analysis. We talk about this all the time. Nebius now is strengthening that relationship with Nvidia. Nvidia is sort of giving them knighthood right now, saying that they're going to get first access to Vera Rubin's. They're going to get access to their developers, work alongside, actual chip makers and stuff like this, that's going to essentially, or well, potentially enhance their offering. I would not be surprised if we ended up seeing a similar offer like what we saw with CoreWeave, where Nebius ends up getting sort of a multi-billion-dollar backstop and says, hey, any amount of additional demand that you don't get by selling to these smaller enterprises, we will end up buying. We'll take on that risk for you because we need a ton of compute. Like we're using artificial intelligence. We're coding a lot. We're trying to make our own models. So we need training. So if that comes through, if another Nebius deal in the next 12 months, 24 months ends up coming through that Nvidia is willing to buy their excess compute, this company only goes higher. Like there's no way to lose if you're fully sold out every single quarter, every year. And currently for Nebius, they're fully sold out for all of 2026. There's zero risk this year. Well, that's not true. I mean, there's cancellations, but those are like, a lot of things have to go wrong in order for those to actually materialize. Whenever you're talking about like reasonable risk, if you're fully sold out through 2026, there's not a lot of risk there. Okay. I'm tempted to buy more HIMs here to lower my average of $40. Dude, if you loved it at $40, you might love this company at 27. Unless you're worried about the lowered growth rates and stuff like this. Nvidia, the Kingmaker's a cool gamer tag. It is true, though. Like that whole idea of like Sam Altman going after Nvidia and saying they're not happy with the chips and stuff. It's like, dude, imagine being blacklisted from Nvidia chips. What are you even going to do? Good luck. Maybe the Chinese government can help bail you out of that situation. Like, at least ByteDance and all these companies have a massive government that can go, okay, you know what, you guys got blacklisted, but here, let's help you out. We'll sponsor you for a little bit. Buying the new dip. I didn't even see a new dip. What's new at now? 1448. That's crazy. I actually love this company. It would be on the short list of companies that I would purchase here if I had money. But no, honestly, I love the neo clouds. Why Nebius over CoreWeave? Mainly just on valuation right now. Nebius is much smaller, growing much faster. CoreWeave's great, but I love the Nebius management. I love their set of subsidiaries with AV Ride and ClickHouse and Toloka and all of those extra businesses that just bring, like their 100% upfront payments, the lack of debt that they have. Like I love Nebius over CoreWeave, but I would be fine with CoreWeave as well. On this, Nebius, CoreWeave, IREN, Cipher Mining. Cipher Mining is a little different. I don't know too much about them. IREN scares the crap out of me. All I hear about is just how much unbelievable demand that there is, and they can't get enough. And then like IREN has all this this massive supply, and they were talking on their latest quarter about like, it's not about having enough partners, about choosing the right partners to work with and everything like this. And I was like, what? Like, just make money, dude. So I'm not anti-IREN, but like versus CoreWeave and Nebius, the ones that have like extremely strong relationships with Nvidia and strong relationships with hyperscalers, and the deals on those hyperscalers look really good. I've not found a reason to invest in IREN right now. Anyone like Wolf as a catch-up play? You don't need a catch-up play. Nebius is the catch-up play. Okay? Nebius is not where it should be, growing at 500%. No need for a catch-up play. I love that. This is your catch-up play right here. I don't follow TerraWolf for Cipher Mining, unfortunately. CoreWeave scares the crap out of me. In IN, I trust. Here's so. Have you seen the cluster max rankings from semi-analysis? This is the gold. Any company that's in this space, Google, Microsoft, Nebius, Nvidia alone, CoreWeave, all of these companies work with semi-analysis. They all say they're top tier. Okay. This is their rankings, the latest ranking. They do it about every 6 to 9 months. So their most recent one that they did was November of 2025. They ranked their favorite neoclouds based on performance, pricing, the quality of different products and access, like all of these things. CoreWeave, number 1, platinum tier. After that, Oracle, Nebius, Azure, Crusoe, FluidStack in gold tier. In silver tier, we have names like Lambda, Google Cloud, AWS, right? Those are the big ones that you would recognize immediately. Bronze, then you have some other names that you might end up recognizing. In not recommended and underperforming, not unavailable. Some of these they didn't have access to, and they didn't end up ranking them, like Nscale and stuff like this, Humane, which might be on that list. But in ones that they did test out and they did not like, IREN was in not recommended, underperforming, right there. And so this whole CoreWeave scares the crap out of you. I love IREN. I'm like, why? All the people who are in the industry say they love working with CoreWeave. And I think what made SoFi good? What made Robinhood good? What made all of these companies? Was it looking at the financials and purely judging it based on growth rates? Or was it also looking at the market and saying, okay, well, which one has the best product? Like, are people loving their experience with Wells Fargo, or are they switching to fintechs because, they love the flexibility there and they love, the pricing and the advantages? These are the exact same. So, yeah. I always worry about whenever people in the industry don't like the products that those companies are offering. Product will always win in the long term. Yeah. I mean, damn it, Tanner, cover something where we can all make money. Nebius, baby. That's it. No, obviously, I'm not calling for Nebius to even. This is just what I'm doing with my own money. But yeah, I just like the name. I like the confirmation bias that I got today. Yeah. Okay. Nebius is up, CoreWeave's up, IREN's up, Astera Labs is up, Oracle, although falling, still up 8.4%, 162. Gotta love that. Where's Bitcoin? Still above 70,000, almost 71,000. Okay. Okay, so what do we have for earnings today? You guys said UiPath. I think that's the only one today, right? I mean, essentially, in terms of the ones that I'd be listening to, only UiPath. And when's the call? 5 o'clock? If it's 5, I'm probably not going to go live for that. Or I'll go live at like 4:30. Yeah, 5 o'clock. Okay. You know what's another company that people did really well on and might continue to do well on? This is definitely not the, the potential top for them if the bull case is true. Wix, $88. This is Wix.com. The same one that you're thinking about, the website builder, everything like this. They have a company called Base 44 that's a subsidiary, a second business of theirs that they ended up acquiring like 10 months ago, something like this. And it's just been skyrocketing in terms of the overall growth here. But on top of that, they keep releasing new products at like blitzkrieg rates. Okay. Introducing Base 44 Super Agents today. It's our take on agents, pushing the limits of how much work that they shoulder as your coworker. Base 44 pioneered the batteries included approach to vibe coding, giving you everything that you need, backend, DB, integrations, etc., with zero setup. So it only makes sense that we do the same for agents. Looking at the rapid progress over the last few weeks, it's become clear that models and agents are now good enough to truly be impactful in our day-to-day work and life. But similar to vibe coding, models need access to the right tooling, the right setup, which creates a reality where most people don't want to power through the integration hell. The setup, security, and limitations for non-technical people are a pain. Super agents give everyone the power of AI agents, no setup, you talk to it like a coworker. You describe what you want from the agent's work 24/7. It can connect to Gmail, Calendar, Stripe, Slack, your CRM, and 100 other services out of the box. We've been testing this with 20+% of our builders over the past few days. The sessions we're seeing are wild. People are using it as a code developer, a marketing assistant, a data analyst, and sometimes all three at the same conversation. One of our builders set up a morning briefing that pulls her sales data, checks her calendar, and sends her a summary on WhatsApp before she's out of the bed. It took her 10 minutes to set up. I've been using mine, and it checks me into my flights to Japan. I just landed in Tokyo. Rolling out to everyone today. Go build. I'd love to see some feedback once you guys get to it. I'm going to use this today after the live stream. I haven't used this yet because this just posted right when I was about to go live. Let's go ahead and have a look. So at the top here, you see super agents. Create a new super agent, then opens up a completely different dashboard. Okay. I'm the wolf. I close deals, track markets, cut through the noise. I'm Jordan. I want you to optimize my investment strategy. 1 stocks, 2 both, 3 you tell me. My recommendation is a 70-30 split. Let's start with, dude, this is interesting. I'd love to see how it actually goes. Yeah, look at this. It immediately tied into getting real data. It just asks you to connect to Gmail, which is so much smarter, right? Like a lot of the times you have to give it so much context. And if you just say something without giving it that context, it will essentially just give you a bad answer. What I love about these new models and these new agents is that they will ask you for more context. Okay, well, for me to honestly do this job, I'm going to need a Gmail connector. I'm going to need access to, these skills to know real market data. Will you allow me to access your Gmail? Yes. Okay. Okay. Now I've connected because I've gotten your approval. It's just going to lead to better answers, right? But this is all part of Wix.com, this new agent. And this is a small use case, but yeah, look at this. It's set up a daily report. Took all of 2 seconds. What can you do if you actually build for a week? Scan the internet for news and updates about the stock market. Okay, well, why do I have a job then? Okay, I have no more job. Here's what you're going to realize. And also what I've been finding out as well. Every creator that I've been following has recently launched some new newsletter or new app that is going to like here's the thing that I'm having a problem with. All these people are charging for these new apps that they just vibe coded and they want you to pay money for them. And I'm like, you just went on about how you built it in 3 days. How are you going to be able to charge for it when we know how little time you've just put into it? You know, I'm seeing these all over. But super agents, apps, super agents in apps, Wix is going to be an interesting name. No, I'm not saying an individual person. Honestly, it's everyone. I'm seeing it, and it's not even a bad thing. But I just think the market is going to inherently bring that price down. 66.6. Dude, I opened my app the other day, like the YouTube thing. It said 66,666 subscribers. And I was like, please, someone unsubscribe or subscribe. I just like, it's too freaky for me. Can we bring it to 6.7, please? I want to get it to 6.7 and then no one ever subscribe again. Rediscovering the death of SaaS narrative. No, dude, I'm not like, I think every single time that models improve and we see new steps, we're going to re-fear the death of SaaS every time. That's why, like the benefits to some of these SaaS names, I just don't believe them. Not that they can't have a week, 2 weeks, freaking 5 weeks of great markets or whatever. I worry of the SaaS names. I worry about the next 24 months as these models continue to improve. Not that they're actually going to die, but that sentiment is constantly going to get hit every time a model improves. Tanner, you should do a future investing loyalty program. Let people track watch hours, videos, communicate with you, own newsletter, etc. So that's more like a Twitch thing. Twitch has a lot of widgets that you can include and like kind of build your thing the way that you want to. With YouTube, they kind of don't let you add anything, so there's no way for me to possibly do that. Yeah. And it's not that, by the way, I'm not even bashing the people who are like, I want people to vibe code. It's just like, how it'll be hard to determine what is valuable and what's not. Cause I think access to some of this information and stuff like this is going to change. Isn't that a bad thing for base 44 and Lovable? Not for base 44. Could it be a bad thing for Wix? Maybe. Do we even need the bots and everything like that, or like the tools, or can we just do that from the AI agents in general? I mean, I've definitely thought about the idea of even having an application layer. Like, is that even needed? Or do we just need the model layer? Like, and just every time that you need like an app, you just ask it to create that app that day. Who knows where this goes? Do you wear a sauna hat? That's funny. I just haven't got a haircut in a bit, so it's just long. It's not that I'm, I don't know. Whatever. This is a hard topic to predict. I agree with you. I agree with you, and that's why I'm not taking many bets here. What I think is going to happen is that we are going to see more chips being purchased and more things happening on the cloud. What's going to happen on the cloud? Hard to predict. Is there going to be more usage for AWS and for Nebius and all of those things? Yes. So that's where I'm putting all my money, because I just know that there is advancements. I don't know how people are going to use it, but I know people are going to use it. You know, so like, what is that? Okay. One dude in my whole Twitch chat, and I had to go out and open that whole thing and ban him. Gosh. Your audio was janky for a bit there. I was kind of putting my hands in front of my face. Maybe that was bad. Or also my cord can, whatever. Sorry about that. Oh, by the way, there was somebody who I was having problems with. A bunch of camera people are going to freak out because supposedly it's dangerous or whatever. But I have my camera plugged in. Like, if you guys saw my setup, the way that it works, I just have a tripod and camera setup in front of all my monitors. And so I was just plugging in batteries into the camera and then charging it the whole time. And I didn't know this. Lithium swells. So my batteries were starting to get stuck. Supposedly this can start a big fire and stuff. I didn't know this. And someone told me to get a dummy battery. Had no clue what that was. Finally got it. Wish I never had any other setup other than a dummy battery. Thank you for saving my life. Love you guys. I love that we have a connected, like, we have a hive mind of information here. And that if I ever have a question and I'm like, guys, I don't know how this thing works. There's a coffee expert here. There's a wine connoisseur. There's every single profession and love of a certain industry in this chat. And I love whenever I'm having a question, as long as I could find your comments in the chat, that it's actually phenomenal. And I appreciate you guys. We just want to stay friends, Robert. Robert, we're more than friends. Thank you. Thank you for being here, brother. I own a plant nursery. I don't think I need your help right now, but you stay by just in case. Okay? I don't need you right now. You never modded me for the volume booster Chrome extension recommendation, though, sad life. It's because it stopped working, and I blame you. And most times whenever people tell me those types of recommendations, which was a great one, mind you, it just doesn't work now. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Okay. Plumber says Patriot Plumbing. I don't really need a plumber. My brother's a plumber. All the work in my house gets done for free. It's freaking such an advantage. Yeah. Love you guys. Okay. Let's go ahead. There was a recent thing that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if we actually... I'm not going to play the video, but Microsoft is even saying that the court should temporarily block the Pentagon's blacklist of Anthropic. My curiosity is why. Maybe because they just recently showed off their new Copilot service. It's actually powered by Anthropic. So maybe there's concerns about, like, if the government can use Copilot, but the businesses that are working with Anthropic cannot use Anthropic for government products. Can the government use Copilot? Who knows? So I think they're trying to make sure that that's all cleared up. However, then we see comments like this. U.S. Senate approves use of ChatGPT, Gemini, and Microsoft Copilot. But the new Copilot CoWork solution is using Anthropic. Very weird. Ex-software developer? What do you do now? Just investing? But Saul in chat, by the way, is a legend. He's been helping me out a lot. I like the way his brain thinks. That's usually how I mod people. I just see people that I'm like, you know, it's like their third good idea in a row, and I'm like, dude, this guy gets it. Which might not even be real. Like maybe you have bad ideas, but your ideas align with mine, and that's what matters. You know, QQQ tank. Oh my God. Dude, I just looked over at my screen. It was on my... Those are some bad candles. Let me refresh my thing. FBI has warned police departments in California that Iran wants to retaliate for American attacks by launching offensive drones against the West Coast. That's the reason. FBI, for people that are getting in here, the FBI has warned police departments in California that Iran wants to retaliate for American attacks by launching offensive drones against the West Coast. Those are some long-range drones. What kind of drones are those? Fly them over the ocean? No, I get that there's a path. I'm not saying... I know like, I'm not saying there's a flat earth. Like, yeah, you can't get around that way. You're going to run into an ice wall. I'm just saying, you know, that seems like a far ways away. It seems like a random ass comment made by Iran. And now the markets are, I think this is a dip worth buying. California, that's where Silicon Valley is. Sell all tech. Okay. Dude, that just erased all of Nvidia's gains here. Let's check on Nebius. Nebius probably... Oh, what? Not even a red candle in the sight for that news. Let's check the Mag 7s. Tesla still up 1.8%. Alphabet trying to recover. I think that this is going to be a quick recovery. I think we're going to swallow that news and come out on the other side. Okay. I just full ported my entire portfolio into 0 TTEs, calling their bluff. I'm joking. Don't do that. SoFi see more pain than... Oh my gosh. Oh wait, shoot. What's up, dog? Okay. What's with the sudden 3 red candles in the QQQ? This is Iran wants to retaliate on American soil. We'll see about that. Stay safe regardless, but I mean, they're a long ways away. The warning came in a bulletin that was reviewed by ABC News. Okay. The alert says that the threat involved a possible surprise UAV attack from a vessel off of the California coast, though no timing or target details were provided. From a vessel off of the California coast? What does that even mean? You're just letting vessels swim outside the California, like with Iranian flags right now? I'd be like, all right, you guys are going to have to turn around, or it's time to get, there's time to go swimming. We're going to turn your ship into a submarine if you are swimming near California. Yeah, how did they even get there? IDF just detected launch of missiles from Iran working to intercept. That was another story that just came out as well. I'm going to say the threats are empty as well. However, it's not their threat. It wasn't that they came out and said that. It's that the FBI warned that they were real threats. So it's almost the U.S. giving the threat, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, we'll monitor that, but that's the craziness in markets today. You can just see insanely red candles come out of nowhere. One article that ends up coming out sinks the whole market. Is anyone seeing that their AI tools are really slow? I'm seeing reports of Claude being ridiculously slow and unusable today. Buy some more GPUs. Wouldn't that be crazy? Like honestly, like even after this massive build out, people are like, dude, this is unusable. Claude was horrible today. You'd think that they'd have all this freeing up of supply because the government's no longer using them. So now the consumers can run free. But no, I guess not. Tanner, Gemini reduced the pro limits so much. Running ChatGPT 5.4 right now in Codex, it's good. I guess that's what happens whenever you spend $1.4 trillion of money that you don't have. You end up, you end up keeping the servers and the limits high. The servers on and the limits high. Okay. Let's see if there's a story on this right now, because I want to hear some additional context. Maybe they're live streaming it here. No, commercial break. Just when I needed them to not be in a commercial break. All right. IEA to release 400 barrels of oil from strategic reserves. Here's what you need to know. All right, let's do this really quickly and then jump back to the markets. I'll also keep you guys updated if we see any crazy headlines like this.
Start with that breaking news on oil from the IEA last hour, agreeing to release 400 million barrels of oil from strategic reserves. Pippa Stevens first brought us that news and joins us now, Pippa, with how the market and the oil patch is digesting it.
Hey, Sarah. Well, this is the largest tapping of oil reserves in history, with 400 million barrels set to be released across the IEA's 32 member countries, about 1/3 of the 1.2 billion barrels in emergency stockpiles. Executive Director Fatih Birol saying, quote, the oil market challenges we are facing are unprecedented in scale. The IEA not yet giving a timeline for when these barrels will hit the market, but said it will be at a time frame appropriate to the circumstances of each country. But the flow rate, or how fast the oil can get out of reserves, is what's key. JP Morgan estimates a daily flow of just 1.2 million barrels per day, meaning it won't do a lot to offset how much is being lost daily in the Gulf. For the U.S. SPR specifically, it's at 58% of capacity with 415 million barrels. Once the president decides to draw it down, it takes 13 days or so for the oil to hit the market. Now, CSIS's Clay Siegel telling me it's like an emergency fund in your bank account. It can buy you time to restore your income, but it can't replace it. So in other words, the world's economy still very much needs Gulf oil. Guys?
Pippa, yeah, you have to imagine the Iranians figured this would probably happen and maybe have a strategy for what comes next, or once these reserve releases are depleted. People are also talking about the tip of the spear being Japan, because some of those barrels are likely to hit on Monday.
That's right. So we saw Japan saying that they would release some reserves on March 16th. We also had Germany come out earlier and say they would as well. And the reality here is that Japan is very much more dependent on that Middle Eastern crude. And so we are seeing some of those Southeast and Eastern nations the most impacted thus far. The U.S. does remain a little bit insulated, but these are global markets. Just look at the price of heating oil, ticker HO. That was up 8% when I checked, which goes to show you that we can't make all of the diesel in the United States that we use. And so this is, a Band-Aid measure in some sense, just because these flows are so global and these supply chains are so intricate. And it's even the fact that, let's say the hostilities were to completely stop today, it would still take a number of weeks to reposition tankers, to restart the production that we've seen come offline. We have seen Saudi Arabia and UAE utilize their pipelines in Yanbu and Fujairah to offset some of those lost barrels, but it is not enough. And so the fact that the oil market is not even falling today, I should say, kind of indicates that maybe there are some perceptions that this is going to be wider and longer than initially thought.
Yeah, I think that was also an echo from 22, where the initial release was not met with lower prices. It did take a while for the market to come around to that idea. Pippa will be in touch. Pippa Stevens watching the IEA today.
Okay. Looking at the market here, we're still down roughly 0.2%. If people are just getting here, this is on news of Iran potentially trying to strike back on American soil in California via a drone strike, I should have said. The FBI warned California police departments that Iran is planning drone attacks on the West Coast. That was the story. It's all going to be drone attacks from here. Like, it's just the future of warfare is cyber attacks, drone attacks, and who knows what other form of robotics. Drone stocks? You could play drone stocks. I think, honestly, I'll just play the cloud. It's all going to be done on the cloud anyway. Or you could look to, if you want like wartime stuff, but I definitely don't want my companies to be wartime reliant. You can look to like, a lot of the data centers are ran in these, extremely large warehouses and everything like this for very specific wartime use cases. You'll have like edge compute where they'll have some GPUs that are running locally on the battlefield to end up setting up those drones. Those might be interesting plays, one-stop systems, stuff like that. But I don't like wartime reliant stocks. Imagine a killer robot coming for you would be wild. Okay. Yeah, I don't. It's going to be a wild futuristic, sort of environment that we live in, where we have drones and robots and all of these things, and they're all like, essentially the end game is not taking out other other missile launchers and stuff like this that try to gain like air superiority or something like this, what they're going to try to do is take out a data center or take out GPUs to make sure that the computers themselves can't even work. Like, just nuts. The battleground will be which side can take out the other country's data centers first. Perplexity Computer just announced Personal Computer. Personal Computer is always on, local merge with Perplexity Computer that works 24/7 for you. It's personal, secure, and works across your files, apps, and sessions through a continuous running Mac Mini. Okay, they're going after OpenClaw here. Look at this. Merge your Perplexity with Personal Computer. Gosh. Is Apple going to see any material impact on the amount of Mac Minis, Mac Studios that are being purchased? Supposedly, you can't even buy them right now. Like, they're just completely bought up. The future is edge computing. We need to find a company who's very good at executing on it besides Nvidia. Why besides Nvidia? Why add that classifier? Yeah, I'm excited for the MacBook Neos. I don't think there's going to be a lot of edge compute on those, but they are very exciting and going to blow up in schools for sure. Yeah. I bet they can charge more for the Macs with higher RAM prices. The problem is that what people are trying to do is just mini versions of setting up their own data centers. So you see these people spending, just thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on Mac Studio on top of Mac Studio on top of Mac Studio on top of Mac Studio. And what you're just going to realize is that it would have just been smarter to have just invested in Nvidia products. Like, just get a mini rack scale system of what you actually need. Then you're going back to like where OpenAI was, whenever they were first starting out. You go get a DGX system or something, a DGX station or something like this. Then work your way up from there. Eventually, you'll realize why these companies are buying NVL72s. I don't know what kind of bots are in Twitch, but they keep doing this thing where they're like, oh, I don't have any audio. Can you please type in chat? It's like, no. Chromebooks dominate schools around me. Well, I also think the Mac Neos are brand new, right? They're $500. Well, $600, but $500 for students. It's a pretty unbelievable deal. Using iPhone chips, but that'll be good enough to run what you need. You can't say they'll blow up in schools, dude. Come on. I mean that they will expand their market share in schools. You weirdo. No one thought that but you. And then you're like, dude, that's insensitive. That's your fault. That's your fault that your brain went there. You're the problem. Go seek a therapist. Deflation trends will persist once oil shocks work through economy, says Jeffries. Okay. Tesla up 1.5%. There's a crazy story for Tesla here. Where was that? Where did I save that? It was Digital Optimus or something. There was some crazy story. Let me get the actual story here. Bear with me a moment. Digital Optimus is a joint joint XAI Tesla project coming as part of Tesla's investment agreement with XAI. Grok is the master conductor navigator with deep understanding of the world to direct digital Optimus, which is processing and actioning the past 5 seconds of real-time computer screen video with keyboard and mouse actions. Grok is like a much more advanced and sophisticated version of turn-by-turn navigation systems. He said, you can think of digital Optimus AI being system 1 and Grok being system 2. System 1 being the instinctive part of your mind and system 2 being the thinking part of your mind. This will run very competitively on a low-cost Tesla AI 4, paired with relatively frugal use of much more expensive XAI Nvidia hardware, and it'll be part of a real-time smart AI system that is a big deal. In principle, it'll have the capability of emulating the function of entire companies. This is why the program is called Macro Hard, a funny reference to Microsoft. No other company can do this yet. Okay. Dude, Elon is doing what every other company is doing. We are buying GPUs, and they are going to be thinking systems that can use computers, and it's going to replace all businesses. It's like the greatest overpromise and underdeliver that every other business is doing. Grok absolutely sucks. You're the worst competitor versus any of the other ones. And I'm not even just like saying that. Like I'm not like, oh, I'm more of a Ford fan than a Tesla fan. No, I love the Tesla products. I really hope Optimus kills it. They look like they're in the lead right now. Grok blows. It's the worst. It's terrible. And so, okay, all these companies that are actually using AI agents and being able to have computer work and all of this stuff is not even something that's new. Like Perplexity's doing this, Claude's doing this, OpenAI's doing this. Grok, you're the fourth company to do this, and you're saying like we're going to replace entire industries. Okay. Well, Grok is the worst LM for real by far, and it's not even funny. Honestly, I find Grok to be unusable. I've shown this in examples so many times, but yeah. And they're not even winning in market share. Like no one's using Grok right now. Canadians are so angry. You can just say me. It's fine. And I just like getting a little I like getting a little passionate. It brings life to the stream. At Grok, is this true? That is really funny, dude. Yeah. I feel like you're too hard on Grok. He's cool. I'm paying the most expensive rate that you can pay to Grok. I think it's like $50 a month or whatever. What's it called? Super Grok. That's what it's called. You can see I have it right here. It's garbage. Okay. Let's see what crypto is up to right now. Oops. There we go. Nothing too crazy on crypto's prices here. Here, let's have a listen to this about Microsoft saying that the court should ban, or the courts should stop the blacklist of Anthropic. Let's have a listen.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. Microsoft making what, in this environment, arguably is a very unusual move. It is backing Anthropic in its AI startups fight with the Pentagon, which is more broadly with the Trump administration. In a court filing, Microsoft, in what's called an amicus brief, which is a friend of the court, effectively, saying a judge should issue a temporary restraining order that would block the Defense Department's designation of Anthropic as a supply chain risk for all existing contracts. Without an order, Microsoft warning that it and other companies would have to act quickly to change existing product and contract configurations used by the Pentagon. In November, Microsoft announced plans to invest up to $5 billion in Anthropic. It's worth noting a couple things here. There's about 130 developers in Silicon Valley that have also filed a friend of the court amicus brief in support of Anthropic. No other major tech company has done such a thing. I mean, we talk about, I always talk about CEO silence. This is a very interesting situation because Microsoft happens to be one of the biggest government contractors in the country. So when you start to think about what true retribution looks like and also truly standing up looks like when you actually care about what you're doing, they have more to lose, interestingly, than just about anybody else.
Sorry, I was just playing around on Grok because this person said that Grok is great. So I just wanted to test it. It took me 3 prompts to break this thing. 3 prompts. What's my name? Your name's Tanner Manson. What do I do for a living? You're a content creator. And then I said, create me a picture of me doing homework. So it knows my face. Like it sees my face right there. It could source through the media. It could find me. It showed me 2 black individuals, no glasses, nothing. It didn't even attempt to make me. 3 prompts to break me. Didn't ask for additional information. Grok sucks. It's terrible, dude. I don't know how many times to 3 prompts it took me to break this thing. If it didn't know what I looked like, it'd be like, hey, I'm not allowed to source what you look like. Could you upload a photo? Sure. It shows a picture of me right here. That's my image. It sees my, you could grab up this photo. If that's what you think my up-to-date photo looks like, then use that. Keep defending Grok. Go ahead. But I'm just telling you the facts.
Even more interesting, Amazon, which happens to be one of the earliest investors in Anthropic, reportedly in a meeting with Pete Hegseth, Andy Jassy, did not support Anthropic. And arguably, you could make the argument that he and other companies like his have been scared about standing up to this administration. So this is fascinating that one of the biggest government contractors. Now, arguably, I'm imagining that part of the sort of calculus to do such a thing is that Microsoft says, we're in everybody's business, meaning we are so locked in to the government, it is going to be very hard for Pete Hegseth or for the president to say, well, now we're going to rip Microsoft out of all of our systems, because that would be supremely painful. But I've talked about how I think this legal case is somewhat open and shut. And I think you're going to see, I think this could be a watershed in terms of others that are going to come forward.
It's not going to happen. And companies also are going to realize there, but for the grace of God, go us.
What happens with Palantir?
In other words, if you let it happen to Anthropic, maybe you don't want to say anything, but down the road it could come back. And political considerations could be.
I think, by the way,
this is did you read this? This is a fascinating piece. This guy goes back to, I don't know, 100 years to a similar situation about a weapons system in the UK, and they did a similar thing. Ended up missing out on one of the biggest moves, cut off their nose to spite their face, and the whole good for China. That's what they're saying. If you take one of the top companies, Anthropic, in developing things, and you basically make it much more difficult for them to advance and to do business, and I mean, it could be in anything they want to do.
In an
with
arms
other
race,
in
which is basically
what
where
is
we
it?
are with
Basically an
AI.
arms race.
And
I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think eventually that Pete Higgs said
that would be
gonna
that would
stand
be my
down.
guess. My
Right.
guess is at some point there's going to be a resolution that's reached. Palantir uses Maven software that is operated by Anthropic.
Right.
You start to think through the implications of what that would mean. You know, who's not been silent on this? Elon Musk, who's a competitor.
Yes,
Obviously,
he
of
wants the
Anthropic.
business.
He says, "Is there a more hypocritical company than Anthropic?" Is something that he posted on X in the last 15
But he has been
hours.
trolling. He has been
So has Sam
trolling
Altman, who
Anthropic.
moved to
Right.
be very opportunistic by stepping in and picking this up.
Sam,
So they're
it's
top,
fun-
they're
it's
top
funny.
competitors.
So
have been pretty
Sam, I have a
opportunistic.
slightly different view of, because Sam's actually was on our air and publicly actually supportive of Anthropic. And if you actually go and look at the deal that he brokered, which I have suggested is so unusual,
It's so
because
similar.
it basically is the same deal, and which is, to me, it is demonstrative of how political the decision was by this administration and Pete Hegseth and the Treasury Department and every other piece of this government that's
Sam
now
Altman
decided
had
they
to
don't want to do this.
apologize because he said it looked like they were being
Right.
very opportunistic, which it did. They signed the same
Oh.
deal a day later.
No question. But at the same time, I think if you go look at what Sam has said repeatedly, he is not trolling Anthropic. He's actually he's not been supportive in the context of clearly trying to get a deal too. By the way, I think it's actually good for the government to have multiple deals. The idea that you're exclusive
Agree.
Right.
to one
What happened with
these services or the other is not.
Get held
What was
great idea.
the initial anger that the Defense Department or Department of War gleaned from Anthropic in the Maduro raid? Was there a complaint from Anthropic that their AI was used and they said we don't want it used in something like
They asked the question about whether it was used.
right? And
they
where was
asked
that?
it to
Where was that?
Palantir,
Right, and that
and
was where,
Palantir.
Just really quick, I see the chat's going crazy about what's it called? The largest Blackwell cluster ever. Grok, never forget, everything like this. Okay. It doesn't matter if the product's not great. So I saw people say, well, do a comparison then. Like that would be better. So I did. I went to ChatGPT with my free version of ChatGPT. Free. You can see free offer here, wants me to upgrade. Memory full, like all the things of, hey, I don't even pay for this service. What's your name? Your name's Tanner. What do I do for a living? You're a full-time investor, content creator, whatever. It's listed all the things that I've done before. I say, create an image of me. It says, I can definitely generate that, but I need a photo of you first so it actually looks like you. Please upload a photo of yours. It doesn't try to generate a random image just because I said so. So I uploaded this picture of just like a past stream, and then it created an image of me. On the free version. Stop defending Grok for no reason. Like, what's the point of these LLMs if they don't do what you want them to do? It does look cute. It made my arms like super short and I look really young there. Like, for real. I don't care who has the biggest Blackwell cluster if it's not doing anything. And that's the same thing of what like the Neo clouds, like whenever I see some people point out some names, they're like, they have the most capacity. Like, dude, one NVIDIA GPU doesn't just mean that, oh, you have X amount of power. The way that you set it up, the way that you run it is like you can have a different outcome. So you need to judge by output. I just showed you what the output of Grok is. It's useless. That's a bad baseline to use. I've done this use case 100 times. I keep doing it every time someone in chat comes and they go, "Oh, well, you can't." So you're just saying that you're not doing that by any, meaningful use case. Like I've done this so many times where I'm like, "Help me understand this. Who am I? Create an image. Create a video." It's all bad. It's every time it's bad. But I do like, so the one thing I do like Grok for, which I appreciate, is while I'm going through X, there might be a topic or conversation that I don't know much about. it's nice to have a button there where it says explain this post in the top corner. That's amazing. You know? Okay, so it's bad for... Name 2 good use cases. Name 2. You got to get the basics right to create the foundation. You think I'm going to allow it to do deep thinking and all this stuff because it calls me Lori and all this stuff? Like, how could I base that off any real information? And then Elon's out here saying it's going to, recreate businesses and everything like this. Like, not useful for... No one's using it for coding. No one's using it for anything. You know? So the least of all, it should be able to create an image of me. Nebius starting to find some red candles here, by the way. Still up 13.2% on that $2 billion deal with what do you call it? $2 billion deal with Nvidia. But maybe the general markets are still selling off because of the Iran concerns. Iran's president says only way to end war is recognizing Iran's legitimate rights, payment of reparations, and firm international guarantees against future aggression. Oh, bro. Imagine being the team that's getting your ass kicked and being like, bro, you're going to have to make sure you, like, I'm going to need some payment, and I'm going to need you guys to promise that you're never going to do this again. It's like, you're not the bully. You're in a locker right now saying you need money. We already took your lunch money. I love all these people like bye and Tanner stick to stocks. I'll talk about what I want to talk about. If you guys don't want to be here to listen to me rant about Grok, leave. Like, I like talking about technology and stocks and finding out which one's going to win. And that's not me just looking at candles all day. I want to, use some services from time to time. I'm doing this for my portfolio. So, yeah. Regardless, with, talking about Iran and everything, I think this is why we're seeing a second bit of candles that are actually selling us off. But I don't think that this is going to last. Wall Street Journal reports that Iran is now exporting more oil through the Strait of Hormuz than it did before the war began. That's crazy. Okay. I'm not even, I don't even think I'm saying anything controversial. I said Grok sucked, and then he's like, dude, you better not. We own a 0.5% of the total market. Like, okay. But you can just look at the market. Like, look what Claude's the big winner right now. What happens if this lasts? Supply chain shortages, inflation, job loss to AI. How do we recover? Well, I think all those things are potential concerns if the war lasts. If you're talking about if there's advancements in artificial intelligence and loss to jobs, but I don't think that there's I think people are only specifically on the job loss thing, people are taking what we have now and then saying, okay, well, how is this going to change with AI? What is going to be lost through AI? And they're looking at all the jobs that we could potentially lose. And they're not looking at all the potential jobs that could potentially be gained by artificial intelligence. Whether that's, monitoring AI agents. Look at Tandem from Toloka. Tandem Toloka. Look at this. Why, people don't talk about this service enough. Here, wait. Where can I get this? Tandem is a hybrid. Okay, well, I have this article from the Toloka team, but I'd like to actually show you what it looks like. Maybe I can find it on X, but maybe I'll even use Grok to help me find it. It's a hybrid AI and human platform, meaning that there's AI agents, but obviously they can get off topic. They can lose their memory right now. They can, the AI agents can go off and do a different task. So they end up pairing this with humans to help the AI agents stay on task. I'll show you what this looks like. I'll try to find it on X because I know that they've posted some videos here. This is a new job. This is a job that didn't exist before. And I think that there's going to be a lot of these expense management through AI agents, to all this stuff. So let's have a listen to this.
Ever wish you could hand off your tedious work tasks and know they'll be done right? Welcome to Tandem. Here's how it works. First, our AI breaks your task into a clear plan. It handles the heavy lifting, like research and first drafts. Then one of our human experts steps in to guide the strategy, review results, and add that critical, final polish. But here's the most important part, our dual-layer quality check. First, our system auto-checks for any errors. Then, a human expert personally verifies the entire thing, making sure it's accurate, reliable, and ready to use. The result? A final, polished deliverable you can use with total confidence. Tandem handles the busy work, so you can focus on your work. Ever wish you could
come on. That'll be a new type of job. Oh, sorry, not that. Not my camera. I meant to drop the screen. So I think that there will be job loss, but honestly, we have no idea where the next jobs are going to come from. I'm very optimistic that way. In terms of the war, war usually leads to, or could lead to inflationary causes. But I think every single year this happens. What happens if COVID gets extended? What happens if, XYZ concern that constantly is happening? There will always be those types of concerns. What you need to focus on are the companies that are growing so fast that they grow faster than the concerns. There could be a big Iranian war. I think Nvidia is still going to sell chips. Agentic AI engineer is one of the growing job designations out there. Crazy. Jake, is that true? They changed your job title to AI prompt specialist? AI prompt specialist. I've been looking up a lot about how weird job titles in general are. People will straight up take promotions that do not increase any benefits, pay, or anything, but it changes your job title. And people will be like, thank you so much. I appreciate that for working, 2 years at this industry that I now have it says senior in front of my name. It's just crazy to me. I'm trying to figure out how to, properly compensate and do all these things because whenever I hire this guy on, it's going to I'm going to take on a new role. So I've been learning a lot about it, but it's weird. No, people don't act like that. Mark Andreessen wrote a whole book about it, about how job titles are the easiest form of promotion. It's the cheapest promotion that you can give someone. In my experience, it's always the guy with the title like developer who goes hard AF. Yeah. Yeah. Don't need chief, don't need senior, don't just developer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, pretty cool news. So wait, there's actually a lot of things we didn't even get around to. We didn't get around to Robinhood, Upstart, SoFi's new sweepstake thing that's going on. Upstart essentially ended up applying for a nationally chartered bank license. So that was quite interesting. Whether or not they get it, who knows? But obviously, I think the likelihood is pretty high. The stock in the after hours before actually bumped up on that news and then completely sold off and headed lower because Citizens Bank ended up coming out with a downgrade on this company down to $20 per share is what they expect this company will close out next year. So stock is down on that news. Robinhood, on the other hand, ended up crossing $1 billion of total deposits just across 65,000 funded customers. This company has 27 million total customers. And just like bank deposits at any other financial institution, the deposits per customer usually head up over time. If you have no seasoned cohorts, you have no way of knowing, what's the average amount of deposits per customer. So it's a lot that they got done extremely quickly. Oracle had some pretty amazing comments that they talked about with the SaaS apocalypse. Maybe we can talk about that here in a second, but let me just go ahead and read through some of the other ones. SoFi just announced a new $75,000 SoFi Plus sweepstake. But you have to be a SoFi Plus member in order to join. So that was interesting. You can get free access to SoFi Plus. You can get, I think, $1,000 is another one, $75,000 total. Yeah. Okay. We talked about Uber, increase in price targets, the new Zoox and Uber partnership. That was also very exciting. Amazon also sees that drones will become a massive part of their delivery network. I thought that was quite interesting. Let's go ahead and check out that video really quickly.
Sports person, what's your over under on 250 million deliveries via drone through Amazon 5 years from now?
Over. But we'll see. The number we gave is we expect to have 500 million by the end of the decade. I think people felt like in the beginning that the drones technology was a little bit of a science project. And I would say it took a while to really figure out the right architecture for it to deliver at the cost and the speed and the right environmental thoughtfulness, noise level. But we have a design now that really works, and we're using it in
Sports person, what's your over?
It's the craziest part about learning about some of those things is like the height at which they need to fly at, the noise pollution, all of these things, incredibly disruptive to all the things that they're doing around there. Like the way that birds interact whenever there's a ton of drones. How do you scale that up and at what height without, disrupting everyone's regular day? It's nuts. No, Andy Jassy's great. I like Andy Jassy. No Andy Jassy slander in chat. He's awesome. What I do find though, these people like Tim Cook, who had worked under Steve Jobs for so long, and Andy Jassy, who had worked under, Jeff Bezos for an incredibly long period of time. I always find that they pick up a lot of their, like the way that they talk and the cadence and everything like this. He sounds so much like Jeff Bezos. but we'll see. Pentagon just reported that they are going to continuously accelerate the deployment of artificial intelligence. So while they might be having a little bit of a, dispute with Claude right now or Anthropic, that's not going to slow down their efforts. They're just saying that they don't like potentially one player in the industry, even though they're huge. Manuel ended up discovering that Nebius is opening up a data center in Madrid, Spain. This is also interesting. He literally went through job postings to find that they're launching a co-location facility in Madrid after digging through company job listings. They're currently hiring a data center IT manager to work on site there. Hard to look for, Madrid, Spain, job postings for on-site work and not assume that they're going to be starting a data center. Crazy. Do you think any hyperscalers will buy Nebius this year? That was in the top 20 predictions from Dan Ives, but I would find it hard just because I think that they're all really worried about, any sort of monopoly concerns or anything like this. What is nice is that although they could be, Google might have a little bit of a monopoly concern in search, or Apple might have a concern on, iPhones, or Facebook might have a concern on social media or something like this. Those aren't the same industries as cloud, so they can build into those fields. But I honestly think it'll just stay its own business. And I think that's fine. I think that's acceptable as well. I don't think that they need to be acquired. And at what price? You'd have to give them a massive premium. Yeah, do they even really need to buy Nebius? That's a question as well. I guess with the stakes in ClickHouse and Toloka, maybe you'd want some of that. But honestly, I think from what they said in their last fireside chat is that they're like, the hyperscalers are using us now, but they won't use us in the future. There's so much more demand than supply, so that's why they're tapping us purely for bare metal. It's not even the best customer that we could have. We want customers that are coming for all of our services, not these customers that already have their own built-out software. So yeah, I don't think that the hyperscalers are going to see too many more deals with Nebius. I mean, there might be an expansion from Meta or something like this in the short term, but that's not their long-term primary customer. Okay. Google, huge news from Google today as well. Today, we announced that Google has completed its acquisition of Wiz. Together, we'll provide customers with a comprehensive platform to secure their cloud and hybrid environments. This is their official step into the cybersecurity name. And like they said, this is for hybrid environments, multi-cloud environments. Very, very interesting. By far the biggest acquisition that they've ever done, $32 billion. Fully completed. I'm curious, is that going to be in the other revenue line item, or is that going to go into its own sort of cybersecurity line item, or is that just cloud revenue? Maybe they just consider that cloud revenue. Who knows? Microsoft Fireworks AI brings open model inference into Azure. IREN and Nebius will both be huge winners. I think IREN will do fine. It's just not it's not the one that I'm betting on. But I'm sure they'll do fine. I'm not betting against them. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. I know I said I was going to have a BM&R video out yesterday. I just fell behind so much. I will have it out today. It's already recorded. It's just in the editing phase. So until next time, thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. But bye for now.